A Dose of Health is here to bring you insights and information from health experts across New Jersey, all in 15 minutes or less. I'm Kate Cherichello Tente, certified fitness professional and host of Healthy in the Garden State. And this A Dose of Health mini-series is part of our mission to bring you as many of the health resources here in New Jersey as we can. For all of these episodes and more from Healthy in the Garden State, check out healthyinthegardenstate.com. Stephanie DiPisa is a New Jersey entrepreneur and founder of Solera Suncare, a clean, clinically backed sunscreen brand born from her family's struggles with skin allergies and her own journey with Lyme disease. Solera is one of the only sunscreen brands with an entirely EWG verified portfolio and has become a favorite among dermatologists, celebrities, and beauty editors. Now available at retailers like Whole Foods, Target, and Bluemercury. Stephanie is passionate about conscious formulation and the future of sun care, and is here today to share how cleaner choices in sun protection can make a real difference for our health. And for disclosure, Solara Suncare is also one of the generous sponsors of an upcoming episode of Healthy in the Garden State Season 2. Stephanie, I'm just so delighted we could connect. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me today.
Same. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I feel like before we dive into anything else, I need to bring up the most common, or at least the one of the most common questions about sun and sun care that I hear, and that is, do we really need to wear sunscreen every day? So how about we just start right there?
Let's jump right in. No, we do need to wear sunscreen every single day. The truth is the sun's rays come through whether or not you're feeling it on your skin. And so wearing it every day helps prevent the long-term damages of the rays hitting our skin in moments where we might not even be realizing it. So you can get skin damage even though you're not physically burning. So finding a
Yes.
good
Thank
daily wear sunscreen is important.
Absolutely. And I already am a fan of Solera's because I have it on right now and I never go
I
anywhere
love that.
without my
Thank you.
sunscreen for sure. Of course. And please tell us more about how did Solera Sun Care come about and also where the name came from.
Yeah, so I have three children actually, and two of them have very high skin sensitivity to chemical sunscreen. So they're the kids that when you spray it on, they kind of get the burning feeling and that itchy red rash. And now they're older, but when they were much younger, this was a real issue for me. And what I learned is 70% of people experience exactly the same thing. And dermatologists and pediatricians for those children recommend a mineral sunscreen. Now, my company is almost 7 years old, but if I go back to where this started, the mineral sunscreen options on the market were not pleasant. It was like rubbing toothpaste on your child's skin. And so that's really where the idea for Solera started, was to help have a solution for moms like myself that had a need and wanted something more pleasant. But it's actually my own experience with Lyme disease that had me think about it in a little bit of a different way, because sunscreen does contain a lot of questionable ingredients. And as I was on my own healing journey, I was realizing a lot of those ingredients are very inflammatory, which is why people with sensitive skin have trouble with them. So I launched Solera to solve that need for people like my children and like myself that are looking for different options, perhaps healthier options for sensitive skin. And my kids actually named the brand Solera. So when you launch a brand, a lot of people in the beauty industry hire like big agencies to name their brand and come up with how it looks and feels. But because this was something born out of a need for my own family, it was only right that we sat down together and came up with some names, and Solera was the result of that. So it's fun.
That is so great. And what a cool memory that you'll always have and your kids will always get to have as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so fun for them to see it on the shelf. It's something that we all created as a family, and here it is in the real world. And so it's real.
I love that. I love that. And I want to hear more about that process as well. And but first, it came up when you said about the inflammatory ingredients in a lot of sun care, skincare in general. What are the other things we should be looking out for when it comes to what we put on our bodies? There's a lot of talk about what we put in our bodies, but what is it about what
That's
we
right.
put on our bodies as well? Can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Well, our skin is our biggest organ. And so everything that we're putting on our skin, from our daily lotions or fragrance to sunscreen, it does absorb and it does have longer term effects. And so when it comes to sunscreen specifically, there's two different kinds. So the chemical sunscreen absorbs into the skin and then it reflects back as heat. And that's what protects your skin, where the mineral sunscreen just lays on the top and reflects the rays from the top. And so that's why for sensitive skin, dermatologists often recommend the mineral sunscreen. But there's other ingredients too that can cause that inflammatory reaction. One of them that we find in sunscreen all the time is fragrance. Synthetic fragrance can be very irritating to, especially for those of us with sensitive skin. And so for us, our products don't include them. So you won't find a banana coconut scent necessarily in our products, because we want to keep our skin, healthy, protected, and also offer options that don't kind of irritate sensitive skin.
And we're going to
Mhm.
talk more about sun protection, but let's shift gears for a second, a
Mhm.
little bit more about your story. I thought it was very interesting to read that you had a career pause and then you had this total change of direction in your career. Can you share a little bit more about that and what it was like to start this company?
Yes, of course. So I do have a little bit of a non-traditional trajectory in the beauty
Mhm.
industry. So it after college, which I studied architecture, but then I never did it. I kind of moved to New York City and did the big agency PR and marketing thing. And I did that for about 10 years until my first pregnancy with my son, who's now 18. And I decided when he was born to take a pause, to take a career pause, to stay at home with him. And then along came two other children, and so that pause lasted quite a while. It was over a decade, of staying at home and raising the children. And in that time I did do some consulting work on the side, during naps and evenings. So I never fully left, but during the day I was full-time stay-at-home mom. And then as the idea for Solera came about, I realized, well, I really had a passion for this, and it was at a time they were getting older and entering school, and I was craving a little more, to do at home. And so this really filled that void for me, and was something that I launched alongside of my family. We're still a family-owned brand, but I was able to use a lot of those skills that I learned in my previous life in the corporate world, and it really helped me, in terms of bringing this to life. And so I love sharing that, because I think as moms, we often hear that there is a one size fits all box, but to me, it's more chapters. And in my experience, that pause made me stronger for building this business. So here I am. And now it's more than a
I love
full-time
it.
job.
Yes, yes. And I love seeing on your Instagram, you're sharing stories from you too, which I think is such a neat thing for a CEO to be out there and sharing that information. And the heart of it is, it really pulls you in. And it's so cool just to hear more about it. And I love that you said the chapter aspect. I know that helps me when sometimes I'm like, toddlerhood. It's a chapter, and we need to
That's
appreciate all that's in each chapter, right?
that's right. Some chapters are
I
more fun than others.
yeah. A little bit of chaos here and there, but there always will be, I'm sure. Uh,
This is true.
you know what's something I was curious about, because you started a company, but not only, I don't want to say any company, it's a very specific market, and you needed scientists and dermatologists. What was that to get all of those experts on board and bring them together? I mean, that part just really boggles my mind of how you made all that happen.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because when we launched Solaris almost 7 years ago, it was kind of the height of this clean beauty and indie beauty boom. It was kind of starting up at that time, and a lot of people were making amazing products in their kitchen. They were home remedies or longtime family secrets for skincare, type of application. But for us, as a sunscreen in the United States, we are a drug. It is a classified drug drug by the FDA. So for me, I was never making it in my kitchen. And from day one, we actually hired a cosmetic chemist, not associated with any manufacturers or labs. And I really rolled up my sleeves and learned a lot about what it would take and what it's like to formulate a product from scratch. And so that process actually took us almost just over 2 years from the idea that I had until the day we launched. So it was a very long process to find a lab that would work with us as a small brand. And then on top of that, would formulate with us when we were asking them to do things very differently than the traditional sunscreen model. So that took quite a bit of time, but I'm glad the hard work really did pay off and it allows us to continue to be different today. So yeah.
Wow, it's such like an uphill, like pushing, 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 and then this huge result at the end. That's amazing.
Right, right. And it does take a village because for me,
Mm.
I wanted to bring in experts where I wasn't. And so that did require working with not just our chemists, but also very well known and respected dermatologists, estheticians, pediatricians, and also integrative
Yes.
medicine professionals as well. And combining all that expertise, I think led to formulas that truly are unique. So that was a really important step for me, was making sure that we had the expertise to support what we were trying to do.
That was a perfect segue into the next thing I wanted to ask you about, which is this EWG verification. I think that is fantastic you have that, but I know a lot of people
Thank
aren't familiar
you.
with what that means. Can you break that down a bit?
So
Okay.
the EWG is a third-party organization that really looks deep at all consumer products. So everything from what we eat to what we put on our skin, and they advocate for healthier products in DC. And so for me, as a mom specifically, and why I started the brand, it was really important to find those third-party experts that could credential what we were saying, so that it's not just marketing, but they've actually really looked deeply at our formula and our ingredients and where we're getting them from. And so for us as a brand, we're actually EWG verified, which is the highest level that you can be. And it took just over a year of working with them to look at every single ingredient in our products, how much we're using within the product, where they're coming from, the sustainability aspect. And so we're really proud of that certification because, while no system is perfect, it does give important guardrails around what we're saying as being a clean product, that we mean it. So we're very proud of that.
I, And I appreciate that you pointed out it's not marketing. It's they have done the deep dive into it. And that's huge, especially now, right? Where you have 1,000 choices for every product and
That's
marketers
right.
love to post all these sorts of things that you need to know what's trustworthy too. And something like EWG, you really know it's been vetted.
That's exactly right. And they have extremely strict guidelines. The certification, that seal that we earned, is not something you can just pay for. You have to go through a
Mhm.
very, very extensive process with them. And at the end of the day, I think it's worth it because, especially as a mom and I'm putting these products on my own children's skin, you want to
Mhm.
know that
Mhm.
everything that's inside of them is doing what it says and that is to the best of its ability, providing the healthiest choice. And so for us, that's important. And we've done the same with Leaping Bunny for, in certifying that we're cruelty free, and we test to European standards as well, which shows that the products are not only what they say they are here in the United States, but live up to the very strict parameters that Europe provides. And so for me, it is about that. It's about safety. It's about being efficacious and being honest with our customer about what they're getting.
Yes.
Mhm.
Excellent. Excellent. I appreciate that so much. And going back to then more about the sun care and the protection and all of that, are there maybe, let's say, three like takeaways that you really stress when it comes to sun care?
Yes, I would say, obviously I have a passion for mineral sunscreen, but the truth is, it's so important to wear sunscreen that you should find one that you like and wear it every day. Don't worry about the fear mongering that you might hear on Instagram and TikTok. Find one that you like and that you trust that you'll wear every day, because skin cancer is growing in our country and it's something we do want to prevent. And sunscreen is one strong way to do that. So that's number one. The second would be to read your labels. So make sure that the sunscreen that you're purchasing for your family serves the needs. So not every sunscreen is water resistant and meant for the beach, and those are kind of outlined by law on the front of the package. So I've seen that a lot lately as more skincare brands start launching sunscreen, as people aren't realizing that they're in many cases not meant for beach or sport or for those outdoor sweaty activities. And so just making sure you know what you're putting on is super important. And then the third would be those credentials. I think if you're seeking a healthier lifestyle and you're really concerned about the ingredients that you're putting in your body and on your skin, make sure that any company that you're buying from, not just sunscreen, but supplements, skincare products, food, make sure they're doing that extra work for you so that you don't have to try to figure it out on the back end. I think that's a really important thing, is to look for those seals of approval.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I could ask you a million more questions, but I know we're supposed to stick to our 15 minutes or less format. But
Yes.
for others out there who also want to hear more and learn more, where can they find more about Solera online?
Sure. So definitely Instagram and TikTok. Our handle is at Solera Suncare. My personal Instagram is at Steph DiPisa, and I do share a lot of my own health journey there. And then our website is solarasuncare.com, and it's a great way to learn more about our products that you can buy on our website or in any of our retail partners across the country.
Excellent. And I was just so excited to see you getting into more and more retail spaces as well.
Yes.
Stephanie, all the best to you. And I just can't wait to see
Thank
Solera
you.
continue to grow. And thanks for sharing so many great tips as well.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing our story.
Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to click that subscribe button. And if you know someone who would appreciate this series, please do share it with them. If you'd like to connect, partner, or have ideas for what you'd like to see upcoming with Healthy in the Garden State, please reach out anytime at healthyinthegardenstate.com. Until next time, I'm Kate Cherichello Tente, and this is A Dose of Health. If you enjoyed these mini-sodes of A Dose of Health, check out Healthy in the Garden State, our full episodes highlighting the health and wellness happening here in New Jersey at healthyinthegardenstate.com.